Hi, welcome to another edition of Cooking in the Time of Coronavirus with David. Carrie's out walking the dog right now, so she's not very much help at the moment. I'm just making some kind of sort of Mediterranean chicken thigh thing. I'm not really sure what yet. What we're doing is I've got a pan here with some boneless, skinless chicken thighs. I've seasoned them with salt, pepper, a little Italian seasoning, some hot olive oil, and I'm just giving them a little browning or a little sear. That's our first step. Also, here's some of the ingredients we're going to use today. We got salt, pepper, of course. I've got an onion sliced up. Got some garlic that we're going to crush. A little bit of red pepper chili flakes again. Some sliced Kalamata olives. Sun-dried tomatoes. Some artichoke hearts. Some marinated grilled red peppers. A little bit of chicken broth and some passata, which is essentially just strained tomatoes. I'm going to make a little delicious Mediterranean sauce for our chicken thighs. So as you can see, our thighs are getting a little bit browned up, and we just want to get a nice little crust or sear on those. I'm going to do them in a couple of batches because I have quite a few. They'll easily fit in the pan, but you don't want to crowd the pan when you're browning things because they'll just kind of steam instead of sear. It's really important to have a good hot heat and get a little bit of browning or caramelization on your ingredients that you're trying to brown. And in order to do that, you need a little bit of space in the pan and not too much moisture in the pan. Okay, so when these ones are done in a moment, we're going to take them out. Then we're going to sear off the next batch, and then we'll be ready to start making some sauce and put them in the oven to bake. All right, so now we've browned off all of our chicken thighs. They're set aside at the moment. And you can see there's lots of brown bits in the pan. This is beautiful stuff when you're baking and braising things in the oven. I'm going to deglaze with a little white wine, which basically just means pouring wine in the pan, and then you're going to stir up and scrape off all the brown bits with a wooden spoon and help to start making our sauce. Now, you can use any white wine. I happen to have Flat Rock Cellars Riesling in the fridge. I've heard once or twice that you should never cook with wine that you wouldn't drink. Like, you want the quality of your wine to be as good as the quality of your food. In this case, we're definitely going to succeed because that's some damn fine Riesling. So you can see we've just poured, I don't know, maybe a couple of glugs or a quarter cup or so, half cup of wine into our pan. It's going to sizzle away and we're going to stir up the brown bits. And that's going to start to form the basis of our sauce. All right, so we've got this handy dandy garlic press that Carrie owns. I'm going to just press a clove of garlic here. We're going to add that to our sauce, and then our minced chopped onion as well. And I'll see you in a minute. See, the wine that we use to deglaze our pan is kind of thickened, it reduces. It's a little bit of a brown sauce now. We've added our minced garlic. I put 2 cloves in because, much like Parmesan cheese, there's no such thing as too much garlic. And we've got our onions in there, and we're just gonna kind of saute them, sweat them down a little bit. Doesn't have to be very long. This whole dish is gonna bake in the oven for quite some time. And I'm gonna add our chicken thighs back into the pot. All right, so now what I've done is I've simmered the garlic and onions for a bit. I've returned our chicken thighs to the pot. It's kind of like a Dutch oven type pan. Nice heavy cast iron enamel dish. And what I've done is I've put maybe about a cup or so of chicken broth in there, and then maybe 2 or 3, let's say tablespoons or whatever, like this much of the pazza, which is just strained Italian tomatoes, to kind of make like a watery tomatoey broth. Like, I don't want it super tomatoey because we're going to put a lot of our Mediterranean ingredients like the olives and peppers and everything in there later. But I'm just going to throw this in the oven at about 400, and I'll probably going to bake it for about 20-30 minutes and just kind of see if it's thickening up, if it needs more sauce, etc., before I add all my Mediterranean ingredients, because I want them to bake maybe for the last bit of the recipe. So as many of you know, the news is not great in the world sometimes, and we all need to take a break from that, try to get outside, socially distancing, and enjoy some fresh air and some sunshine. Keep yourself mentally and physically sharp and happy. You know, it's easy to get sad right now. I'm wearing my Jason Mraz t-shirt today, if anyone noticed that. Mostly because I love his music. He's a genuinely beautiful human being, and he cares a lot about humanity, and he's a really nice guy, and the world could use some happy things right now. All right, so the chicken's in the oven. It's going to be at least 20 minutes or so before I really want to check on it and add some more ingredients. So I've set a timer on my phone because it's very easy when you pour yourself a glass of wine and come outside in the sunshine on the balcony and take a little break to enjoy the fact that we can still go outside and that it's nice outside. Carrie's come out and she's having a little glass of wine on the balcony too. She doesn't want to be on camera today because she's, you know, hanging out in the house in sweatpants because it's the time of the apocalypse. I'll talk to you soon, kids. All right, so we did have the chicken covered in the oven. I should have mentioned that. Our sauce is cooked down a bit. It's still like thin, like it's not like it's gonna thicken, but it looks really quite delicious. And now I'm gonna add just a couple of good heaping tablespoons of sun-dried tomato, the marinated peppers, some calamatas, and diced up some artichoke hearts, okay? All right, I've added sun-dried tomatoes, calamatas, roasted red peppers, artichoke hearts. We're gonna put a couple of dashes of our red chili pepper flakes in there again because we like a little heat and spice with our food. Don't have to do this. And I'm gonna throw it back in the oven. I think I'm gonna do it uncovered now just to kind of reduce the sauce a little bit, get rid of some moisture. When this is done, we'll take it out of the oven in maybe 15 minutes or so, give these flavors time to fuse. And then we're gonna throw some fresh spinach and some goat cheese in there and give it a little broil. All right, here we go. So I've had the chicken with all those Mediterranean ingredients in the oven for another 10 minutes or so, lid off to kind of reduce some sauce. We've got some nice plain white basmati rice holding. Carrie's sauteing some snap peas with a little bit of bacon. And all I'm gonna do now is, I've got a bunch, and it looks like a lot, of fresh spinach. We're gonna put that in there. The thing with fresh spinach is it really cooks down to very little. So this won't seem like that much when we're done with it. We're gonna throw that back in the oven for 5 minutes, and then we're gonna hit it with some goat cheese. Quick here, this is a simple little thing. I've turned all the chicken so the nice side up, or the presentation side up. And what I'm gonna do in a minute is I'm gonna top them with a lot of our sauteed ingredients. I'm gonna spoon some of the spinach and olives and such on top of the chicken, put goat cheese on it, and kind of almost broil or brulee it. All right, so real quick again. What I've done is I've spooned a bunch of the toppings and the ingredients in our sauce up on top of the chicken to kind of cover it. And then I've put some really lovely crumbled goat cheese, fresh chev, on top of the chicken. And we're gonna throw it in the oven. We've got the broiler on, so we're gonna kind of broil it with the hot, direct heat from above and kind of almost brulee the cheese onto our ingredients. All right. So we've bruleed or broiled our goat cheese on top of our Mediterranean chicken thighs, and it looks bubbly and delicious, and I'm really hoping it turned out well. Because here's the thing, kind of winged it, and that's okay. It's all right to play, it's all right to experiment, it's all right to have fun. There's a lot of serious shit going on in the world, and it's okay to enjoy yourself. Cooking is part art, part science, and just experiment and have fun, kiss your loved ones, and be safe. All right, so now we're sitting down at the table. We've got our chicken, our snap peas that Carrie was gracious enough to make for us. I've got some nice basmati rice, which I drizzled some of the sauce over. Toby, of course, has had an exhausting day here, self-isolating in the house with us. And this is a lovely rosé, Côte de Roses from France. I think it'll pair perfectly with our Mediterranean chicken. It's a wine that Carrie and I were fortunate enough to find and fall in love with on our trip to Paris a couple years ago, when we were, wait for it, falling more in love with each other. And that's your romantic dad joke for the week. Everybody stay safe and have fun.